Checkpoint 2. Evaluating expressions and the order of operations. In general, simplify an expression by using the order of operations. First, evaluate each exponential. For example, 5 squared equals 5 times 5, which is 25. Multiply and divide each term from left to right. Combine like terms by adding and subtracting from left to right. But simplify the expressions in parentheses or any other expression of grouped numbers first. Numbers above or below a fraction bar are considered grouped. A good way to remember is to circle the terms like in the following example. Remember that terms are separated by plus and minus signs. So what you may remember from previous classes is the phrase PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. This is the order of operations. First, you want to take care of anything that is in parentheses. This includes addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Second, you want to take care of exponents. Third, you want to do all multiplication and division. I recognize that multiplication is written before division. You actually want to do them at the same time. And then lastly, you'll want to do any addition and subtraction. Example number 1. Evaluate 2x squared minus 3x plus 2 for x equals negative 5. So the first thing they did is they replaced their x's with negative 5. So we now have 2 times negative 5 squared minus 3 times negative 5 plus 2. First, we want to take care of our exponentials. So negative 5 times negative 5, which is what negative 5 squared means, is 25. I realize they wrote parentheses here. However, you'll notice there isn't actually anything that needs to be done within those parentheses, so that's why we're moving straight on to exponentials. The reason we use parentheses is we like to make sure that it's obvious that they're negative numbers. So you'll see that we use parentheses a lot when evaluating an expression. The next thing we'll want to do is our multiplication and our division. 2 times 25 will give me 50. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15, but we made sure to bring the negative down. And then the 2 just comes down as well. So I now have 50 minus negative 15 plus 2. Remember, when you're subtracting a negative, it becomes positive. 50 minus negative 15 is now 50 plus 15, which will give us 65, plus 2 gives us a final answer of 67. For example number 2, evaluate 5 times the quantity x plus y over x minus y for x equals negative 3, y equals 2. So the first thing they did is they replaced both of the x's with negative 3 and the y's with 2. So we now have the quantity 5 times the quantity, negative 3 plus 2 times 2, over negative 3 minus 2. We want to take care of everything inside the parentheses first, and this time we have addition and subtraction and multiplication and division. So the 5 we're just going to leave alone for the first few steps. We want to take care of any addition, multiplication, or division on the top and on the bottom separately. So 2 times 2 becomes 4. There's no other multiplication. So now negative 3 plus 4 becomes 1. And negative 3 minus 2 becomes negative 5. So we now have 5 times the quantity 1 over negative 5. 5 times 1 over negative 5 gives us negative 1. Either you think of it as the 5's canceling, so you have 1 divided by negative 1, or you remember that any number times its reciprocal will give you 1. Now let's take a look at some of the other examples. It's not obvious, but you are using negative 2 for x, negative 3 for y, and 5 for z in all of these problems. So for part A, 2x plus 3y plus z. I now have 2 times negative 2 plus 3 times negative 3 plus 5. We want to do our multiplication first. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And 5 is brought down. We then do our addition and subtraction. Negative 4 plus negative 9 is negative 13. Plus 5 is negative 8. For part B, we have x minus y. We replace x with negative 2 and y with negative 3. When you subtract a negative, it becomes positive. So we now have negative 2 plus 3, which is 1. For part C, we have 2 times the quantity, x plus y divided by z. We replace x with negative 2, y with negative 3, and z with 5. First, we add our numerator. Negative 2 plus negative 3 gives us negative 5. We then divide. Negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1. So we have 2 times negative 1, which is negative 2. For part D, 3x squared minus 2x plus 1, we replace x with negative 2, x with negative 2. First, we take care of our exponents. Negative 2 times negative 2, which is the same as negative 2 squared, is 4. If you're doing this on your calculator, make sure you put the parentheses around the negative 2, otherwise you will get the incorrect answer of negative 4. So we now have 3 times 4 minus 2 times negative 2 plus 1. 2 times negative 2 gives us negative 4, and 3 times 4 gives us 12. So we have 12 minus negative 4, which I'm sure you remember is 16 since you're subtracting a negative, plus 1 gives us 17. For part E, we have 3y times the quantity x plus x squared minus y. We replace y with negative 3, and we replace both x's with negative 2. So the first thing we want to take care of is what's inside the parentheses. Negative 3, there's nothing actually being done with the negative 3. There's no addition or subtraction, multiplication, or division. So we're just going to leave that negative 3 for the beginning. Inside my second parentheses, we want to take care of our exponents first. So again, negative 2 squared gives us a positive 4. Negative 2 plus 4 is a positive 2. Minus negative 3, again, when you subtract a negative, it becomes positive. So 2 plus 3 gives us the 5. So now we're going to multiply everything. 3 times negative 3 times 5 is negative 45. For part F, which is a little more complicated, we have negative z squared minus the quantity 1 minus 2x all over y minus x. We replace z with 5, we replace x with 2, and we replace y with 3, negative 3. The opposite of 5 squared times the quantity 1 minus 2 times negative 2 all over negative 3 minus negative 2. Again, we want to take care of our exponents first. So we have 5 squared, which is 25. Since the negative this time is on the outside, that's why it's a negative 25, unlike the other times where it was positive. Inside my parentheses, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So now we're doing some addition and subtraction on our fractions. So we have 1 minus negative 4, which gives us 5. Negative 3 minus negative 2, which again, when you subtract a negative, becomes positive. So negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. Negative 25 times 5 is negative 125. And when you divide that by a negative 1, you get positive 125. So now let's take a look at some of the problems that you were assigned. You'll notice that the directions say evaluate each expression for x equals 4, y equals negative 2, and z equals negative 3. I've highlighted these in color, so we have x is orange, y is blue, and z is negative 3, just to make it more obvious to you about which phrase I'm using. Whenever you see the word evaluate, we're looking for you to plug numbers in and give us a numerical value. So if you see the word evaluate, you should definitely be giving me an answer that's a number as opposed to a variable. All right. So for number 1, we have 2x minus 3. So I'm going to replace my x with a 4. So now I have 2 times 4 minus 3. And as I said before, you could write this as 2 times 4 using a multiplication symbol. However, math teachers tend to put parentheses because in the event that there's a subtraction symbol there, we like to make it obvious that there's subtraction going on. So I'm going to take care of my multiplication first. So 2 times 4 is 8. So I have 8 minus 3, which gives me 5. We're going to jump down to number 10 since it has a few more interesting parts going on. So we're using the same numbers. X is 4, y is negative 2, z is negative 3. For this one, we have 6z minus y squared plus x plus 2 divided by z. So I replace my z with negative 3, I replace my y with negative 2, and I replace my x with 4. So that's what I did here. And again, I used some colors in order to emphasize that to you. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take care of our exponents up here. And we also want to take care of the numerator of my fraction. So negative 2 squared, again, is negative 2 times negative 2. So it's going to give us a positive 4. So that's where the positive 4 comes from. 4 plus 2 gives us 6. For the next step, I actually combined 2 steps. I did 6 divided by 2, which is going to give us negative 2. I also did negative 18 minus 4, which gives us negative 22. And then when you subtract negative 22 minus 2, you get negative 24. Hopefully that helped you out a little bit and you'll be able to finish problems 2 through 9 on your own. If you have any further questions, feel free to email me at mbrenner@d131.org with more questions.